Hey, you guys are doing much better. But you guys are beginning to come late again. So would you turn to one another and let's encourage one another. Let us honor God by coming early. All right, let's everyone stand up. Let's all stand up. If you came late today, repent, confess your sins to one another. Let us. Come on, Esther, say, repent. Amen. Great, great. Great. Hey, let's really try to come early, okay? Is that right? Hello? Yeah? Okay. If you cannot come here, if you come here late consistently, there's a way you can be early. Come to 10 o'clock. Even if you come at 10 o'clock, you'll be really early. Okay? I am here to introduce our speaker today. Come up here, Teresa. This beautiful young lady is my daughter. Better preacher than I am. She was sharing her testimony at Wire, well, like 2 months ago, something like that. And at that time, I was away for something. I forget exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And in the middle of her testimony, somebody texts me. She's better than you are.
Don't be embarrassed.
Some people, man, I have no idea. But anyway, when I visited Teresa in Mozambique several months ago, we were talking about different things that she was learning. And not only at that time did I want her to share her testimony about her general experience of mission trip that she shared at Wire a couple months ago, but as I was talking to her at that time, I felt very strongly that she had a strong message, in particular about women's body image. I knew that women struggle with it. Many years ago, I was doing a pre-marriage counseling for a couple, and toward the end of the pre-marriage counseling, this woman said, you know, I'm very scared about upcoming honeymoon. And I said, why? And she said, well, to put it bluntly, you know, when we go to bed, you know.
Yes. I'm still here, you know.
You know, they had kept themselves pure, and she said, when the first honeymoon night, I'm not sure if my husband will like my body. And I am quoting almost virtually here, verbatim. And she said, you know, I'm not like the Playboy model. And she was beautiful. I mean, she was really physically beautiful. But, you know, it was just shocking. But I know that this is a huge issue for women. But because it's our sisters struggle with these things tremendously, especially in civilized nations. It is also men's problem because we impose it upon our women, you know. So, I mean, the message is not only about that, but as I was talking to her, I just felt, wow, you know, I would like her to share this message. So, here she is.
Hi. He actually suggested that I lead a women's retreat. And I was like, they would totally not qualify me. But anyway, I'm going to start by reading the passage. And I have NLT. I don't know what's up there or if anything's up there. But it's from Psalm 139. And I'm going to first read 1 through 6 and then 13 through 18. So 1 through 6 says, O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts, even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say, even before I say it. You go before me and follow me. You place your hand of blessing on my head. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to understand. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous, how well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day passed. How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you are still there with me. So I know this is a passage that most of us have read since we were like 10 or whatever. But I was really trying to find something that really summed up what I was trying to say about like how beautifully God really has made us. And I felt like he just led me to that page. I guess I kind of bookmarked it, but then when I was flipping through, that totally stuck out to me. And I think I really began to read it and understand it in a way that I never had before. And 1 through 6 just shows that God really is our God in the sense that he knows everything about us. Everything, like everything we've done, all the things we're going to do, everything we've said, everything we're going to say, everything. And he knows us so much better than we do. And so the only way to discover us, like find out who you are, is through God. He's the only one who knows you better than you do. And the crazy thing is he knows every ugly thing we've ever done. And still it says that he places his hand of blessing on our heads. I would smack us around or whatever, but he places his hand of blessing on our heads. And the second part just shows, David was so poetic and just his words are so beautiful. But we should be able to read this for ourselves and really be able to mean what it says. It says, we were made so wonderfully and so complex. Like David is in awe of the way that God made him. And David was a handsome man, but this is something that we're all meant to say. And God really is the most amazing artist, and we are his most prized masterpiece. And God really focused so much on each one of us individually and focused on every little detail, like that mole you don't like on your face, like he drew it there, you know what I'm saying? Like he focused on every little detail, and every one of us is different. Every one of us, even what's on the inside, personality-wise, even the foods that you prefer than other foods, God even decided that, He wrote that in your DNA, everything. And he calls us beautiful, even though we know we're such a mess. And everything we've done wrong, he knew it was going to happen, and still he chooses to be there for us every morning when we wake up, and chooses to forgive us every time. And he knows all the things that you're going to do tomorrow, all the bad things that we're going to fail at tomorrow, and still he says you were made so beautiful. And I forget what I was doing, but I was probably doing something bad. I remember just lying in my room on the bed, and I was just like, God, I'm such a mess, I'm such a mess, whatever. And I was just freaking out, going crazy, mad at myself. And then when I kind of calmed down and just lay there on my bed, I felt God saying, yes, you are a mess, but you're a beautiful mess. I was like, okay, I'm happy with that. And when I was in Africa, I haven't really posted any pictures, but I will. It's not that I'm embarrassed, I'm just really lazy. But when I was in Africa, I promise you, I have never looked worse in my entire life. In my entire life. We didn't put makeup on, we're sweating like insanely, and I have to, they're really, really conservative because you're supposed to be missionaries. So you have these skirts going from waist high all the way to your toes. And you know, it's just that you really look like a nun, and you have these like nasty t-shirts that's just like, I wore these white t-shirts because I thought it would make me sweat less, but then you could just see all the sweat marks. It was so disgusting. It was so disgusting. Oh my God, it was crazy. And you know, we had this thing, we invented a word. It's called the sweat-tash. You can imagine what that is. We would sweat so bad that all the girls, we would literally get these mustaches and from our sweat, and the whole time we're just thinking, wow, God, I'm so glad you have not sent our like future husbands with us. And I didn't even know it was possible, but my eyeballs started to sweat, seriously. Everything, even my cheeks, I didn't know that was possible. Everything was sweating, it was so disgusting. But at the same time, I was getting so close to God, and it's not like I'm so holy or whatever. It really happened because I had nothing else to do. And you know, there's no TV, the light turns off every 30 minutes, there's no internet, all that stuff. Can you hear me? Yeah? Oh, don't touch it? Okay. So, because of that, we only had each other or cards. We played cards for like 3 hours straight. But when we weren't doing that, and when we weren't working, we just spent all the time with God. Literally, like, you know, reading the Bible, listening to the same worship music you have on your iPod like 20 times, or just lying there or sitting there silent and just waiting for God to speak to you. And I didn't even realize what was happening. I just thought, like, you know, God is my only strength, comfort, whatever, because you would get no sleep because it was so hot at night. So the only way to get comfort would be just to be at peace and just to listen to God. And yet at the same time, without even meaning to, I was starting to feel this comfort, this contentment, even in the way I looked, in the way who I was. And I just felt so beautiful. And you know, I never thought I had insecurity problems or whatever, but, you know, even the things that we don't take seriously, like the fact that I had to look in the mirror before I left the house, or, you know, whenever there was a car next to me, I would check myself in the mirror, make sure I look okay, and make sure my hair was in place. I thought that was totally normal, because I was like, well, at least I'm not, you know, anorexic or bulimic, and, you know, I don't go on the scale every day. But even that little bit of insecurity, caring so much about what other people saw me as, that even was not from God, and that even was not meant to be in me. And without even realizing it, I stopped looking in the mirror. Well, we only had one mirror, so we didn't really have a choice, but I wasn't like desperately searching for a mirror every time I left the house. And I didn't really care if I was like gaining weight or what I looked like or how my hair was. I didn't brush it. You don't have a blow dryer, you know, anything like that. And before I knew it, I had this security with the way I looked. And I remember clearly looking in the mirror one day and seeing that I looked disgusting, and I had like rice and beans all over my face because I was feeding this baby and she like slobbered all over me. Even still, I looked in the mirror and I was like, whoa, like I would never want to be anybody else. I was like, I have never felt more beautiful, and I don't know why I would imagine being anyone else, you know? And then I think when I fully understood what was happening was when my dad visited me, and he was like, you know, just tell me what you learned and whatever. And I was telling him, oh yeah, like I got to preach at this prison, blah, 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 heal these people, whatever, see food multiplied. But then, yeah, stuff like that. But then I really started to talk about me and what was happening in me and the transformation that I was going through. And I was just talking about like, Dad, you know, I've never felt more beautiful. And you can tell like I look really bad. And he was just kind of like, you know, not disagreeing with me. But he was like, you know, I think you should preach. And I was like, in front of who? Like the family? Like, are you kidding me? And he was like, no, I think you should preach in front of the women, maybe have like a women's retreat or whatever. And then he narrowed it down. He was like, why don't you preach on Sunday? I was kind of like, you mean like a testimony, like a 5-minute testimony? He was like, no, I think this is something that every person, every woman really needs to learn. And not just learn in your head, but really that transformation needs to happen in you. And so I prayed about it, and I felt like God said yes. So that's when I really realized what was happening, because I didn't even make a, mental choice like, oh God, please let me feel secure about my beauty through my time in Africa. It just happened. And it really happened because I got to know Jesus as the man, like flesh and blood, someone that like could actually sit next to me, and like I could actually touch like the warmth of, and just really getting to spend time with him. It really almost became like I was going on a date with him every time we were doing quiet time, And it was so funny. My girlfriends and I in Mozambique, we'd be like, oh yeah, we haven't, spent time with Jesus. Sorry, I have to go on my date. And we would just like run away to like the little corner of our room and just spend hours with God. And it was nothing like anything I've ever had before. And I really met Jesus in the sense that it wasn't just going to a retreat and having someone pray over me and knocking over and, getting filled by the Holy Spirit. It wasn't anything like that. There was no like me shaking around going crazy speaking in tongues. But slowly, as if you would get to know a person, I would get closer to him day by day, as if he really was wooing me, and like romancing me. It was crazy. And day by day, I just like couldn't wait for that time to spend with him. And day by day, he would just whisper these words to me of how beautiful I was, and of how even the way he made me. He would bring me to verses like this. And finally, for the first time ever, I wasn't just skimming it. And it wasn't just like, oh, Psalm number 5,000, whatever, Psalm number 1, whatever, It wasn't just a number anymore. The words really came alive. Like, God, you have made me wonderfully. We should be in awe of not even just God, but the way he made us, the way we like even look. And I finally let him just love me. I gave him the chance. Finally, I put everything away, and it was just easier for me in Africa because I didn't have any distractions. It's not like God is only alive in Africa. It's easier for us because we're not surrounded by all these distractions. But the first time I really met Jesus, I was just in a living room on the floor. Like I could have been anywhere. I could have been in my house, but I just never gave Jesus the chance. But just slowly, day by day, I let him comfort me. I let him speak to me. I let him whisper those words of how he made me. And finally, they meant something. They came alive. And I just let him woo me, And then as my relationship slowly grew more and more and I fell in love with him, he gave me these eyes to see me, to see other people the way he really created us. Without these, like critical, cynical glasses that like the world gives us with all these like photoshopped, airbrushed magazines and people on TV that are reality TV, but they're nothing like, they have pounds of makeup on their faces. But for the first time, he really took away all those layers in my mind. And I was able to see people the way he really made us. And I was able to look at my friends in a totally different way. And I looked at them and I was like, holy crap, you're freaking beautiful. And we'd be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And it wasn't even like we're trying to compliment each other. We really saw each other the way God made us. And it was almost like my eyes were so focused on that one little blemish, that like one little wrinkle or something. And then all of a sudden, I stepped back and I saw the whole picture and I was like, holy crap, this is who I've been spending my 3 months with? Like, you're drop dead gorgeous. And again, it wasn't anything that I tried to achieve. He just gave me those new lenses. He gave me those new eyes. And those are the eyes that we're meant to live by, Those are the eyes that we're meant to have. It's the eyes that we have. It's just the devil has put all these things in front of us, all these lenses that make us see people in a totally different way. And it's not that we're supposed to accept everybody and like everyone is, perfect, whatever, whatever. It's not like that. It's not like God wants to totally brainwash you, but really knowing God made me finally really understand people. Understanding the potter makes you really appreciate the pot that he's created, you know? And God really made everyone beautiful. And that's the truth. Like every little design on the person is so unique and so beautiful. And just because not everyone has it doesn't make it ugly, and like not normal. It really is beautiful. And it's just that it's not like we have to change. We really have to ask God for those eyes to see them. But back to what I was going through. I think just letting him affirm me, just letting him whisper those words of love. And the way God talks to me is through visions. So it's crazy. I'll be not even praying about me, I'll be praying about something totally else. And I'll get a vision of me. And just really him like loving me and romancing me, or even just my face in the vision. And he's just like pointing out everything that he put on my face and just showing how beautiful it really is. Just through that, all those words of affirmation and just him telling me all the characteristics he's put like in me really made me see the wonderful person that I really was, and made me really appreciate him and even appreciate me. And I realized that having true confidence in yourself and having true beauty comes from knowing what God says about you. And of course, God will say to each one of us, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. But it's not even just that. It's not like, oh, God's so general and he made us all the same. God will say, like, you're so beautiful. I put that, that curly hair on your head. I put that, like, dimple on your face. I put those, like, moles, whatever. I like, detailed every part about you so carefully. I put so much thought into everything about you, everything in you, everything outside. And when you finally get to see like the artist's like perspective and the way he, his whole plans, why he did that thing that I don't like on me or whatever, you really get to see the meaning and you really get to appreciate it. And we did this mirror fast. This is mainly what my dad wanted me to talk about. But when we were in Hawaii and then when we were in Africa, we did a mirror fast. We just didn't look in the mirror for how many number of days. I cannot tell you how hard it was. I would rather have done like a food fast. And some of us were going crazy. We would like sneak a peek at our shadow or whatever. And I'd be like, oh my God, I didn't know the hair was out there, whatever. But it really did something. Oh my God, it really did something. Because instead of just looking all the time on the outside, I was so much more focused on what was on the inside, like how I was feeling that day. Like, was I an ugly person that day? Like, was I filled with anger? Or was I filled with hatred or jealousy that day? It really began to define, like, the person I was on the inside. And that again, like it made us appreciate the way we each looked on the outside. And my friend Jane Kim, she went to China. She was so beautiful, but the most insecure girl I've ever met in my entire life, to the point where before, like literally a week before YWAM, she had trapped herself in her room for 3 months, with all the curtains down, with the door locked, and she would, as if she was in prison, but she like imprisoned herself. Her mom would just leave her tray of food outside her door, and she would just, eat it like that. Total craziness. She really was in prison. And I saw when she first came, she was so pale. She literally looked like a vampire because she hadn't gone in the sunlight for so long. And when she went to China, she did a mirror fast for all 3 months. And all of the girls on the team did it also as like a sisterly support. I couldn't recognize her when she came back. Not only because she was like more tan, but she she had actually gained weight. We all gained so much weight. I couldn't fit in my jeans when I came back. But she gained like a little bit of weight, but she just had this glow. And I was just like, who are you? You know, like what happened? And she was like, God totally healed me. God healed everything. And I was like, how? And she was like, well, I did that mirror fast thing, you know. That was like the hardest thing I've ever done my entire life. But because of it, God really was able to make me stop focusing on the way I looked and finally be able to focus on Him and what He says about me. And He was able to call out all these things that were on my face that I totally forgot I had because I hadn't looked in the mirror for so long. And she was like, I've never felt more beautiful. I've never felt more secure. And the funny thing is, something happened to the guys there also. You know, at first, like, at YWAM, I have never seen better looking Christians my entire life. So I told Jeannie she has to bring some cute clothes. I was the only one that looked like a missionary. I had all these like old T-shirts my mom had in high school with all these holes everywhere. It was so sad. Because I was like, I thought we were going on a mission trip. So even the guys, this is how sad it was. Even the guys were like, oh, Teresa, do you want to borrow my clothes tomorrow? Like, it was so sad. But what was I saying? Oh, the guys changed. Oh my gosh. The guys even admitted, like, in the beginning, they were trying to, you know, hit on us and whatever, like trying to get a Christian girlfriend. But I went with these guys to Mozambique, and they kind of did a mirror fast in the sense that, like, they just let all their facial hair grow. It was disgusting. I don't want to ever do that again. But I remember my leader, he's this really like southern guy. All of a sudden, he like looks at me from across the table and he goes, Teresa, you're dang beautiful. I was like, okay, you're my leader. You're not supposed to say stuff like that. And he was like, no, I've just been having these visions, and it really is of God, like telling me how I'm supposed to look at women. And even him, from like spending all his times with God and really getting to know Him, getting to know His characteristics, and even getting to, again, knowing the potter, knowing the maker. He said it even gave him fresh eyes, not just for himself, but to see others, to see women. And I've never seen a guy look at girls like that. Never, ever, ever, ever seen guys look at that. Not just the way he looked at me, but total strangers, you know. And a lot of the girls there don't dress well, you know, they really, really bad. But most girls are prostitutes there. So, you know, they'd be wearing really sleazy stuff and whatever. But the way he looked at them, just with these eyes, just focused on the face, he really was able to see everyone as sisters. And he really was like, wow, I have never appreciated women's beauty more. And I have never like been at this place where I'm not searching for like the hottest chick in the room, whatever, you know. I'm not looking for that at all. But I'm really able to appreciate like the artist and his creation now. And all of the guys on our team went through that transformation. And they're amazing men, really. Now they are, at least. But it really is possible. You know, the devil throws lies at us saying that it's normal to be insecure, you know. It's normal to not want to be you. It's normal to want to lose 15 pounds or whatever. You know, it's normal to not be able to leave your house without makeup on. The devil says it's normal, and I'm pretty sure most of us here like believe that it is normal. But the truth is, it's really not. It really isn't. And it is possible to get freedom, to get breakthrough, and to really see yourself as beautiful. Because that's the way God always made you, you know? Why would He create you imperfectly? If He really is God, how could He create you imperfectly? If God is perfect, how could He make a mistake? There's nothing that's a mistake on your body. Even if you gain 5 extra pounds, whatever, more to hug. You still are totally beautiful. and you still are the way God designed you, you know. And Jesus was the most perfect, the most beautiful man on earth. But I was at this lesson, and this our teacher was kind of showing this slideshow of Jesus, and he showed us this picture, and I was like, "Holy crap, who is that?" And it was a picture of what Jesus probably really looked like, and he was like this dark skinned, like wide boned, huge nose, and like really kind of looked like a Neanderthal. He wasn't very good looking. And like really dark skinned and like kind of like bad, messy, dark hair, whatever. And I was like, what? That is not the Jesus that I've been worshiping, you know? But that's the truth. Most of us don't even realize that. And most of us only think of Jesus as this like, you know, pure face, like white skinned, like Jesus with this like perfectly trimmed beard and this like long flowing chestnut brown hair, whatever. But Jesus really didn't look like that. But we don't even realize because we don't have pictures in our Bible of how he really looked like. We focus on his character and what's on the inside of him and his personality. All of that was so beautiful that it just totally makes you forget about the way he looked. And I'm pretty sure when we see Jesus, he's going to still look like that guy, that Neanderthal, but we're all going to look at him and be like, you still are the most perfect, the most beautiful human being. And that's the truth because God is going to give us those eyes. I was criticizing my body the other day, and then I got the thought, like, am I saying that I could do a better job than God? Because that's what criticizing is, right? Like saying that you could do a better job, and this is what you need to fix, God, and, you know, if I was God, I would do it this way, you know? But God is perfect, and we are the ones that are imperfect on the inside. But God made us perfect on the outside. You just have to see it. You just have to ask God for those eyes. And, you know, it is possible. I didn't even ask God for those eyes or whatever, and he just gave it to me. Just from getting to know Jesus, he gave me his eyes because I was becoming more like Jesus. And it's possible for the men too. It really is. Because I've seen it happen. I've never seen it before, but I've seen it happen, like a total transformation, even the way our guys looked at women. Totally different. I've never seen such pure eyes. Just looking into the face, almost like looking into the soul and seeing how beautiful the soul is and how perfect the body is. And, you know, all those magazines or TV shows that promise to make you look like Jennifer Aniston or slimmer in 30 days or to transform you into a new, better you. That's all from the devil. You don't need a new, better you. You just need to see who you are. You just need your transformation of the eyes, not of your body. You know, not to get rid of that. You don't need to focus on getting rid of that pimple and all of a sudden you'll be like the most beautiful person in the world. You already are the most beautiful because we are all the most beautiful. You just really need to ask God for those eyes, and it is possible. When I first came back to America, you know, I was so scared of America that I just spent all my time in my room, you know, like worshiping God and praying, and I'm being like, God, I'm so scared, I'm so lonely. There's so many cars at night. Literally at night, we'd be driving, and I was like, holy crap, why are there so many lights? I need sunglasses. And I spent so much time with God those first couple weeks. And then I felt myself slipping. And I wasn't spending like any time with God anymore. I was like focusing on the internet, like online shopping and shoes and all that stuff. And all those things that promise you happiness, you know? And they give you like a little taste of happiness. And then they lure you in saying, oh, I'll give you more, I'll give you more, I'll give you more, you know. And if you work out a little bit every day, you know, eventually you'll get to this goal where you're so happy because you just look so beautiful. Those people who look most beautiful to our worldly eyes right now, they're not even all that happy. And it really is this taste. But God has the full picture. He has already in his hands, ready to give to you that true security, that true happiness about the way you look. And you just have to give him the time, really. I was at this point where I was just like, wow, why do I feel so bad? Why do I feel so crappy, you know? Like, how come I can't look in the mirror anymore? It's not like I look worse than I did in Africa. And then God told me, he was like, have you come to me lately, you know? Have you allowed me to tell you who you are again? How beautiful you are again? And I realized, wow, most of us try to find our identity, not most of us, but a lot of us try to find our identity, you know, in a relationship, in a boyfriend, in a girlfriend, whatever, and try to form that into your identity. But all of us are fallen, and there's none of us who can find our identity, our better half, complete us in another person. But you can find your identity in Jesus. He is the only person who is strong enough to carry that weight of your dependency on him. He's the only one who can complete you. A relationship with him is totally different than a relationship with anyone else. And we think it's so hard, but it's really not. You just have to give him the time, you know. Just put everything aside. Give that silence to him. And again, really, you just have this security and this sense of beauty that you've never had before. And it can last forever. It does last forever. Okay. The end. Oh.